school, Louisville boy like Reese Gaines. I know we were cool back then, but things change. Your chick give me brain, my chicken's free range. Reporting live from the 5.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first ever reoccurring guest, a man that we are very fond of, someone who's been on the pod before. It's been a busy week for this guy, so we thank him so much for joining us again. It is Tito Machado, our friend, CEO of DUPR. Tito, how are you this Sunday evening?
I'm doing great. I'm a little recovered from the crazy week. I'm still a little tired. As I was telling you guys offline, I was like responding every single comment. Even today, I was still responding to every single comment. I think I need to chill a little bit. I'm excited, man, because, Brian, I know you've been...
I'm using my brother's account.
I know. My apologies. I just saw Brian right there, and I was like, maybe he wants me to call him Brian. But
I thought that too, to be honest.
No, I've looked at every single comment, and even yours, right, on a couple places. And I want to have the dialogue. I want difficult questions. I want you guys to test me. I know people have questions, doubts, and I haven't had a single person yet where I was able to give the full story on why we're doing this that I haven't been able to convince. So let's see.
No, I respect that a lot. I wouldn't have been surprised if you came on this podcast wearing an army helmet, because you have been in the trenches. And I literally, you're the CEO and you're out here doing all this research on what the market thinks and what they're saying, how they're feeling, what are their concerns, what do they like, what do they don't like. And that is just incredible. That speaks volumes about how you're running the show at DUPR, and, being able to take that feedback. And obviously some of it is just straight negativity. Okay, that might not be as useful, but I genuinely feel like you are very open about looking for constructive feedback. And even if there are some disagreements, you're still you're getting more productive information out of everyone. And that's hard to do on the internet. I know from personal experience, responding to comments in my comment section, the people that only play tennis and they stumble upon pickleball videos, if they have a certain preset perspective, it is so hard to get anything productive out of them. And I feel like you have gotten information that will help you and the company and pickleball in general.
Kevin, honestly, man, it's because we care, man. A couple of the comments I saw is well, yeah, you have data scientists who don't care about pickleball, don't know anything about pickleball, and they're just quants looking at number, and our head of data, she is a PhD and she is obsessed with pickleball.
This is Sarah, right?
Sarah Carpenter, yeah. Sarah Carpenter, she's a 2-time national championship of college pickleball. She is in the community, she's obsessed, and she's extremely smart. So it kind of hurts me as well sometimes when I see some of them thinking that we are kind of not looking at them or not caring. So I just want to show to the community, guys, we are thinking pickleball 24/7. We're thinking DUPR 24/7. We care. This is not a job. This is a passion. I want DUPR to be massive, make people happy. I'm not trying to punish anyone. So, man, it's been a great week in the sense of we see how much people care. But also, it's been a hard week because, we want people to like us. We want people to be happy with us. This is our community, So it's definitely been a learning experience for sure.
Right. And honestly, props to you on that as well, because I feel like you guys have such a huge adoption rate, at least in the US. And it's kind of you guys are going to be relevant no matter what happens. But you, knowing that, are still hey, what does everyone think? That we're trying to improve things and still make everything better. So, even that, yeah, people are gonna hate change. Some segment of the general population will hate change, regardless of what it is. And I feel like time will tell if those improvements are truly improvements. And based on what I'm hearing, I do think I was originally, on the side of skeptical about these most recent changes, and. I think you've mostly converted me. There's still a couple of pain points I'd like to share, but I'm sure we can get into it whenever you're ready.
I cannot wait. And before we get going, I just want to make sure that people know this is, a DUPR 2.1 or 2.2. There is evolutions. That's where we're getting the feedback. This is going to be, we're going to keep adding more things. We're going to keep studying this. So I also want people to understand, like any product, like anything that we're doing, this is not the final cut, the final product. It's going to keep evolving. So, but let's go to it. Let's answer all of the questions, guys. Let's get my hands dirty here.
Okay. Well, I just want to sort of intro this by saying, correct me if I'm wrong. This new algorithm comes from a place of you guys wanting to make this the most accurate rating system possible. Correct?
Okay.
I mean, this comes down to a matter of accuracy at the end of the day.
Correct. I mean, listen, it's all about, we can look at emotion and accuracy, right? And when we're looking at the math, right, this algorithm is extremely more accurate, right? When we look at predictability power, which is how most algorithms are measured, right? If you are in finance, right, and you look at algorithms, right, you're looking at, how can we predict the markets, what's going to happen and stuff like that, Our algorithm is the same, right? If you look at what we're doing, we're looking at how close can we predict how a score is going to be within a match. Like AC, if you want to go and play, what's the score supposed to be looking at the algo? And right now, we're getting it closer to a way higher percentage that we were before. So, that's the whole goal, making it the most accurate rating system in the world.
And again, and I've touched on this, and I know this isn't the sole reason for this. It's because this is your goal to make it the most accurate. But if people ever want professional pickleball to succeed, gambling will have to be legalized. And the only way that will ever happen is if there's a rating system that is as accurate as humanly possible. Okay, so if you're out there and you don't like the new algorithm, but you want professional pickleball to succeed, those two things cannot be mutually exclusive. Just wanted to say that because I think there's some confusion there, right? My thing that I see where people are like, and I understand the frustration from, well, I want a match, I should.
Well, do we want to start with what the changes were, just in case anyone needs to be caught up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So really, what happened is that it used to be, if you win, you go up. Based on a point differential, you can go up by a certain amount, or more or less, and depending on the difference of the ratings. If you lose, you go down, but you cannot go up, right? So it's very like scenario A, you go up, scenario B, you go down. The amount differs based on point differential. Now the win-loss barrier is removed, right? So now there's an expected score, and win or lose, you can go up and down, right?
Correct. Now the reality is that this is that was the second version of the algorithm. The first version of DUPR, we did have a spread model. We actually had a dynamic spread, which meant that we had a connectivity aspect behind as well, which meant that winning and losing wasn't being accounted for, right? It was like it's right now, but also this connectivity made everyone who was playing pickleball under DUPR part of a network, right? That would make shifts without players playing. So Kevin, for example, like I play against you today, Sunday, right? Our scores go in, impact the rating, okay? But you go and play tomorrow, and we learn more information about you that also had an impact on my rating, right? Because
if you beat me on Sunday and I go beat Ben Johns on Tuesday, your rating also goes up.
Exactly.
Yeah, so right, Kevin.
So we had that in the system. The problem was a little bit what's going on right now, right? Is that it was more difficult to understand. So people would go to sleep being a 4-0 and wake up in the morning being a 3-9, and now they cannot play on their open play because they are 0.1 below. So that dynamism was a little too complex, I think, for the community at the stage. So that's why we decided to go into a simpler ELO. Now, a lot of people in the comments, right, are like, hey, go to ELO, like video games, like chess.com, like that's how it should be. Like, we did it. We actually, that's the first version of the V2 that we had, the win-loss. It was an ELO. So, we decided to change that version. And let me tell you why. We were at MLP San Clemente 2023. We added an ELO system, the chess.com system, okay? Annalie Waters had a horrible weekend. She didn't play well. It was a very tough weekend for her. She went from being number 1 in the world to being number 15 in the world with an ELO system. So when I was running the numbers that Sunday night with our team, I was like, dude, if we put this out there, they're gonna crush us. Like if Annalie goes from being number 1 in the world to being number 15 in the world, we cannot do this. So we re-added a point impact as well as part of the winning and losing.
Gotcha.
And change a couple things and, rerun a couple things to be able to adapt to the pro game. But just giving you a little bit of example.
Right. Okay. So you're saying like the strict binary, like win-loss result.
Yes.
Like not accounting for point differential at all.
Yes.
Win-loss result dictated how much you moved up and down based on your rating, but not how close the score was.
Correct.
So version 2.0 was that.
Yep.
Pure ELO.
Yep.
2.1 is accounting for point differential again. Right?
Correct.
And now we're on 2.2 or
yeah,
or 3?
Now, 2.2. Now the whole goal was kind of like, yeah. So, and let me, the reason like we were starting to, we saw that we needed to change, right, with this story was because we were getting a crazy amount of inflation and deflation. There was a way to gamify the system, maybe sometimes on purpose, sometimes not on purpose, but you knew exactly what you needed to do to be able to go up on the ladder, right? Now, remember, we are not a ranking. And this is something that I'm going to repeat a lot during this podcast, right? Rankings are about winning, getting points, going up the ladder. Our job or the mission, is the whole goal of DUPR is not to gamify DUPR and to go up. The whole goal of DUPR is to look at all of the information that we have from you and give you an accurate representation of who you are on the pickleball court. Now, this is tough, right? Because I've seen so many Instagrams with people on their bio saying road to 5-0, road to 5-5, like whatever it is. Like the way that we're looking at this algorithm and this rating is as this reward system. It's like a level system that we need to kind of beat to beat the video game, right? That's the way people are looking at DUPR. And that's not what DUPR is. And that's something that is going to be very tough for us. We need to do a great job to change the perception. There is no shame in being a 4-4. There is no shame in being a 3-5. There is no shame in being a 5-5. Like, this is not a video game that you need to pass. This is just a number, a rating that dictates or gives you an approximation, an average, with all of the data that we have of who are you on the pickleball court, so you can find fun players to play against.
Yeah, this is not a Champions League or Diamond rank or whatever. Like, it's just a current status. It's current status, not a.
Who are you today?
Yeah.
Who are you today with the information that we have?
I want to talk about our sponsor. We love Midwest Sports, MidwestRacketSports.com. They've been a staple in the tennis industry for the last 30 years. They're a family-owned business from the Midwest, hence the name. And they are finally making a big splash into the pickleball world. They have everything you need: shoes, bags, hats, socks, shoes, socks, hats, bags. They have it all. And if you spend over $50, you get free shipping. So I want to talk about my favorite part of the Midwest Racquet Sports website, and that's you can demo up to 3 paddles for $15, right? That's such a steal. So many new paddles constantly coming out. You're all looking for different things. For $15, you can try 3 paddles, put that money towards the one you ultimately end up wanting to buy. I think that's a steal of a steal, KD. So go to MidwestRacketSports.com, use code CP15, CP15 for 15% off. We love MidwestRacketSports.com, KD.
That paddle demo is such a clutch program because, like, yeah, there's just so many new paddles coming out all the time now. And, like, it's to a point where a lot of them are pretty close to being at the top of the market. So you do genuinely want to know, like, I just got this in the mail. Like, is the 11.624 the next hot thing? Like, Pickleball Apes came out with another one. Yola, how is it compared to the Yola? How is it compared to the Palatechs? All the other ones. So, it's just it's good to be able to keep tabs on what's out there.
100%. MidwestRacketSports.com. I will say I'm so happy that, like, I have a paddle that I'm playing with though, because
You're locked in.
There were months where I was like dropping like $900 unnecessarily on paddles, and like I probably could have gotten these paddles for free. Like, I mean, if you're ranked like top 5 in the APP and you like really want a paddle, I feel like you can probably get it. Like Grayson used to like just have 700 paddles that he would just hit up everyone and be like, "Hey, can I get a few?" And they were like, "Sure, I guess," you know. And he would just do these giveaways. But I was spending my own money on those, so happy that I'm with a company I like and a paddle I really, really like.
Yeah, it just brings the accessibility to match people's curiosity, right? Like that's
100%.
huge. So yeah, go ahead, AC.
I was just gonna say, like, I think a lot of people are like, well, it makes sense for you to go up. Say if you're 5-0 and you lose to Ben Johns 11-9 in the third set. I think a lot of people are like, well, yeah, it makes a lot of sense for you to go up in a loss. But then they also have the same opinion that you shouldn't go down. You shouldn't go down in a win. But what they don't understand is like, that's logistically impossible. Like you can't. You're all part of one ecosystem, so you can't go up with a loss, but then also, you know what I mean?
That leads to like if both sides go up or if both sides go down, then it's really just going to be the severe, even more severe inflation and deflation, right?
Exactly. It doesn't go both ways, and this is super important. Even the people who are kind of like trying to adapt to it, and they're like, okay, losing go up. Okay, I get it if you overperformed, but you shouldn't be punished, right? The word I see the most is punished for going down. And again, it's not truly punishment. We got some information, we learned from that information, and we adjusted. Now, a lot of the things, and let's talk examples in a little bit, but a lot of the complaints of like, hey, I won this weekend, I had a great tournament, and I won a tournament this weekend, but my rating still went down. A lot of the examples that are being shown and people are putting out there are nominal, like are to 1,000th of a point. Which honestly, if today I were to take away the third decimal point out, no one would even know that that's happening. Actually, like I'm thinking like maybe I just take the third decimal away, because if I take the third decimal now, no one is going to see that movement. Mm-hmm. And it's so nominal, it's so meaningless that they're not going to understand and it's going to adjust. So you don't have this feeling of losing rating. And, maybe it's a good way of doing it. I don't know.
Well, he went down, some guy, he's like, I won 15-2 and I went down 0.0002.
So, exactly. Okay. All right. See, that's where, I do like the idea of removing the third decimal point. But I do think there's also the degree of like, hey, like moving up in DUPR 0.1, right? Like people want to go from 4-5 to 5-0 or even 3-5 to 4-0. Like it's hard to move up 0.1. Correct. So that's why I think when there's that much level of granularity and they see 0.005 as an adjustment, that like from my own personal journey, like I've thought, wow, 0.005, like that's progress, or that's, wow, I have to make that back up because of that poor result. So like I do think like if a result that someone was like, oh, I didn't expect that to increase or decrease me, if that's so material that it's 0.01 different, like that's a 10% way to 0.1, which is a lot more visible, right? Like if you're calling yourself a 4-9 versus 5-0 or 4-8 versus 4-9, like that does kind of have different connotations. So
for sure. But, most 100%. Now listen, I'm not. I think the feelings are fair. Like don't get me wrong. Like I get it. Like I'm a competitor. I want to be the highest. I want to get my rating to that higher level. I feel pride of it. I feel pressure when there's a DUPR game. I played tennis before. I felt the same pressure with UTR, right, which is a tennis rating, and it was also a spread. And almost every racket sport is using a spread, right? So I get it. Like completely understand now. Again, like a lot of the things is we're looking at games as one game or 1 point in a game, like in a way too magnified manner. Okay, like you think about it, Kevin, right? When I'm posting your rating, I'm not looking at your performance today. I'm looking at a body of data.
Mhm.
I'm looking at all of the data that I have from you from the last couple of years, right? And with all of that data, I'm saying this is who you are. So it's an average, right? So it all averages itself out. So, you're right. But the problem is that we're only focusing on the green or red. If we see green, good. If we see red, bad, right? Which is fair. But again, it's not the whole story.
Yes, and okay, the body of work, because this is one of my gripes, and we've talked a little bit about it. I get part of what you're saying. I just want to continue our conversation. So, the going, like, you're basically, you're afraid that people are, or to some extent, you're always worried, like, how are people going to gamify the system and, like, manipulate their rating, right? And one instance is, hey, if they always sandbag and they're always winning, they can't go down, right? That's like one instance. But now it's like flipped. It's like if you always play up, and that's not, like, you can't really choose your opponents necessarily. So one situation that's relevant for, like, there's a big crowd between 5-0 and pro, right? Like, myself included. It's like, I'm not really full-time pro, but I'm also not 5-0, so I'm not playing in the 5-0 brackets. I'm trying to sign up for the open divisions or the pro divisions, and anyone can sign up. So I find myself playing, 4-5s to 5-5, or anyone from 4-5 to 6-0 all the time in open money balls. And, like, part of my concern is, okay, if I play a 4-4 and a 4-8, like, I have to beat them 11-0 or else my rating goes down. And that's a common matchup. Like, if I'll play a 5-0 and a 5-1 all the time, like, in these tournaments. So it's like, okay, well, like, yeah, I might beat them 11-3, 11-4 on average, but in my mind, that's like, that should be the expected outcome. Anything where they win less than 50% of the points, there's like a competitive threshold where, like, that is kind of a beatdown, and it's not relevant to, like, the rating. It's not relevant to the body of work. But in this instance, I would, if I beat them 11-4, 11-4, like, my rating would be going down 0.006 at a time, and that, two of those. If I play like 10 matches in a day and 3 of those are that, then that's like a material difference.
Yeah. Listen, I think that specific case, I think you make a great point. Again, it really does level out, because if you're playing with people who are slightly higher than you and you're beating the expectation, you're gonna keep going up. And the other way to look at it is that, hey, if you actually beat that expectation, like, you not beating the expectation of those games, because we have so much match data, we are so reliable,
there's
right?
a chipmunk down here. Oh my gosh. Keep going, guys. I gotta get out of the basement. Oh my gosh.
No, so I was gonna say, Kevin, that reliability, right, is a big aspect of this. You are, from that weekend, Kevin, you're not gonna see considerable movement. I promise you, it's not gonna be that crazy. Like, I know there is a little bit of a fear that bad weekend on that playing against the 4-5 is gonna make you drop. It's just not, right? And actually, it's an opportunity, right? Because if you beat that expectation, right, you are gonna go up, because you are proving us that your rating. But again, you have a very low,
If the expectation is 11-0, 11-1, how much can I go up, right? Like, I
get it. At the end of the day, right, when you play with people that are slightly higher than you, and you play with someone, you play with AC, right, and you have some good points against him, and you do that repetitively, right? We're looking at patterns, guys, right? How are you performing across the board, and it's not going to affect you that much. I think. Yeah.
Let me flip the scenario. Let's say that I play Ben Johns and Gabe Tardio. I'm a 5'8" right now, and they're 7-0 plus. Like, I'm sure the DUPR, I don't know exactly what it would be, but let's just say, for example, it's predicting that we would lose 11-1, 11-1. We lose 11-3, 11-5. In my mind, I'm like, I mean, did I overperform expectations? No, I got beat down. Like, I'd lost the match without ever challenging them. And in my mind, that's like, in pickleball, there's so many ways to randomly get points with a random missed return, a random net cord, where in my mind, like, that's part of the norm. That's not like a variance. Like, every match has that. So, like, in tennis, you have to win 4 points to get to a game. And that one game is what feeds into, like, the the algorithm, right? But with pickleball, every single point mattering, it's like in my mind, there's like a competitive threshold where like if it's not competitive, it's not competitive. And then once it becomes competitive, the point differential matters even more because it is like real important data.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. I mean, I think what we're learning from this matches is that actually every single piece of data that we can get, because of the limited amount of data that we get from pickleball games, it's very valuable for the total average. That's another thing that is very important. Okay, like I know I get your point. I completely get it. I think you're looking at it in a very smart way because because the chances that you have in both sides or the games that you're playing, maybe you're playing a higher percentage of games with people who are below you rather than above you. So you feel like you are it's a little tougher for you. Now, this was happening also with in the other rating, right? A couple of the things that people are not discussing is like, what about the Saint Ford? Okay, Saint Ford is a guy who is a 5'7", I think, right now. He is competing with some of the top players in the world, right? He's having great results against those top players. He's way deflated. He shouldn't be that low, right? So the rating is punishing him because he's losing 70% of his games, or I don't know exact percentage, I'm making this up, to 30, right? So he keeps going down, and his rating is not a representation of where he should be on the ranking, right? When it comes to the top players, and we know that he's a 20-year-old kid who is growing, getting much better. We're seeing them in wave, getting some really good results. So in that case, for example, on the old algo, right, he's getting punished. And I got a call from Ryan Sherry as well. The other day, Ryan, a year ago, right, he had crazy games against William Howell. Like he had some crazy games right there where he kept getting punished out of those games.
For losing.
It's just for losing. Yeah. He kept going down. He's leaving the professional almost sphere through, I think he's a 5'4", leaving the professional sphere. And that's not the real representation of his level, right? Again, like the way that you're looking at it, Kevin, right, in many ways, is that gamifiable reward system, right? Because you're on that road to get to pro, right? And you're looking at every chance that you have to be able to go up and not getting punished. But the reality is that we had a world where the ratings were polarizing. We have another perfect example. Another perfect example is on the other side of the spectrum, right? We had a senior pro women. Okay, they're beasts. They're amazing. They're fantastic. The top senior woman pro, the number one in the world, she is a top 20 PPA player on the old algo because she dominates on her subgroup so much. She wins so much on that group that right now she will be a top 20 PPA player. Do you think that's an accurate representation of her level, looking at the full picture of DUPR?
Right. Okay. So the instance of the Zane Ford and that, where it's like, okay, like those people never go down or never go up because of their record. Like literally the Zane Ford example, you're saying that he's having competitive matches with people higher ranked with him all the time. Yes. And that's where it's like, if it's competitive, that's great data. Like that's fantastic data. I think the going to the point differential or the spread makes a lot of sense. But I feel like there's still a lot of scenarios where, Ben Johns will, like literally any of the top 5 PPA seeds will play everyone else, and they should lay a beat down. And if they don't, then that is significant information. But if they lay a beat down and win 11-3, 11-3, like they're like, are we going to see a deflation from the top pros because they have to play the first and second round of PPAs all the time?
No, it's not, because again, I think the key aspect here, and I think this is a little bit of just giving us a little time. I think that's important, giving us a little time to see how the ratings look here in the next 6 months when everything averages itself out, because again, we're looking at a lot of the people are looking at this from one weekend, right, or 2 weekends that we've had right now, and how it's affecting it from what happened last weekend and what happened this weekend, right? Yeah. As I mentioned before, we run all of these exercises, guys. We're looking at this, like all of these models, right? That we rerun, and like people who are accurately rated, it's going to maintain. If you're reliable with an accurate rating and you're playing at your level, nothing is going to happen to your rating. And only two things are going to happen to your rating, or only two things can make your rating go up and down, and that's that you start playing better, and the other one is that you start playing worse, right? And those are the things that are going to impact your rating, your results. If you're proving to us over time now with the current system how you're competing against Kevin, against 4-4s, but how you're also competing against 5-5s, how you're also competing against people who are close to your match. If you could proving all of those scenarios, there is nothing to worry, because we have so many different data points from you at so many different levels, right? And how you're competing, that at the end of the day, it's going to prove to us, like, this is what your DUPR is supposed to be. So it all truly gets there. And the competitive, we'll see now in the next couple of months, and maybe it's something that we play with. Maybe it's something that we go adding to the system at the end. But what we're trying to say here is that the reality is that no amount of data should be disregarded right now for us, because pickleball is a sport that is, we're only getting like 10 games average from players. We're not, it's not like, not every single player like you has so many games. We have a full body of data. So if we start like nitpicking what we take, we don't take, we put a competitive threshold here, right? We make our lives a nightmare, because we just don't have that much. It seems like a lot, but it's very tough,
No, that is a great point. I feel like that I do like this change for that purpose, like where there's less data. I do think it will be more accurate, because you're really valuing, to your point, every data piece that you have. Yeah. And in the past, there have been some buddies who, play their first tournament or two, and the initial rating was like super reactive, and then
you're not talking about BMAC, are you?
No names mentioned, but one friend was significantly lower than his other friend, and they were at the same level. But anyway, it's good. Anyway, but I do think the reliability and the extra data points for newer players is actually like super helpful for getting that initial rating finalized at a better spot. So but I guess. Okay.
No, go ahead.
You go.
No, I was gonna say, it's you're 100% right. Like, we're gonna be able to get players at the right place faster. That's for sure, than before. There's a couple things that we need to add into the algorithm that if we do, they might kill me, so I might not do it. Let's see. The other one is decay, and decay is an important one that we're ready to do, or we have it ready to do behind the scenes. We haven't done it. Again, we're looking at some of the situations going on right now, but decay is important, right? Decay is, we start dropping the value of matches until they don't mean anything on your rating anymore. So let's say that a game that you played a year ago will literally drop from your rating. One of the reasons that it would be great to do that is because, we have a lot of people protecting the rating right now. We have another big problem where people, they get to a 5-0. They're like, I'm not playing anymore. I'm here. I got my status in the community now. Now I'm playing on the 5-0, and they're not playing. So, and also because people are evolving, changing, getting better and getting worse, right? So what happened a year ago doesn't mean that that's who you are today. I made this reference the other day. A lot of players are saying they're a 5-0 DUPR with zero reliability. And that's like me saying that I'm very healthy because I went to the doctor 5 years ago. I did a blood test and I was super healthy 5 years ago. So I must be healthy right now. It's kind of like the same example. Without reliability, we have zero trust on who you are on the pickleball court.
Do you think the visibility of the reliability is worth it? Because I guess right now, if I go, this happened in a recent PPA Challenger. Like I beat like a 5'9" who was like a 20% reliability. Does that match have less impact on my rating because he was 20% reliability? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Like I guess from my perspective, like that is showing the reliability of their profile. so that, it is like take with a massive grain of salt.
Yeah.
But also, it's not rewarding me inappropriately for beating someone with a 20% reliability. Like, I feel like,
yeah,
why change that and go to a decay system when it's already weighted in the algorithm?
Listen, that's completely fair, man. The problem is that we thought reliability was going to be the big solution, but no one is using it in local play, and no one. I mean, no. This is the big thing. I saw one of the biggest. This got me so upset because one of the biggest points that was brought up this week, I saw a screenshot in many places of the 0.433. This person went down like 0.4 out of a game, right? And people were like, this algorithm is crazy. Like, it's horrible. Like, this person played one game and
they have like a 1% reliability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to, get on the podcast, talk to people and kind of explain those things, because it happened because of this person that have no reliability. We got a couple of data points from them, and they went down because we're adjusting the system. So that's why it happened. So, but a lot of the, open plays, club directors, it's already a big ask to have someone to have a DUPR, right? And now you also ask them to be reliable. You're trying to sell core time. You're trying to sell the open play, the tournament, the event, right? So you start telling people, you have to play with a DUPR. Great. And now you tell them, you have to play with a DUPR and be 60% reliable. So now the pool of players that can play gets way lower. So it gets a little complex, if that makes sense.
What if the solution was that the club also, you start promoting clubs to have DUPR rated matches more often, or ladders, and like, right? Because the other solution is like, okay, let's integrate further. Like, let's get a reoccurring DUPR ladder for that rating range every week, or even once a month. Like once a month is enough to keep the reliability up.
Yeah, no, we're 100% do. I mean, that's the whole goal of our clubs team. We have a clubs team that their job is to talk, to organizers and kind of set up all of those kinds of events. That's exactly what we want. I mean, the more data points that we get, the better. I mean, we're kind of like hungry for that data. So we have a team that is just like going, and listen, we have a lot. We have like no one in the industry. We have 8 million games in the system. What people don't know is that a big percentage of those games are club games. They're not even tournaments or from or like round robins or anything like that. This is like club matches from directors. That's our number one source of data. So it's happening a lot. Again, in some places they do gatekeep by DUPR, right? Maybe they don't input the scores, but they still gatekeep. It's like a private party that if you're not a 4-0, you cannot play, right? That's why people get a little upset with these changes, right? But the big issue with that is like, it should be 4-0 with a 60% reliability, not 4-0. That's and two things: we add decay, or we convince all of the organizers and tournament directors to use reliability on everything they do. It's proven to be very hard, the reliability so far.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess, from my perspective, it's like, what was someone's strength is, it's hard for me to pinpoint, like, okay, if someone's rating's been going down without them playing, like, it's hard to pinpoint, okay, well, what was their strength? Like, what if they have been training, but they just haven't played a tournament? Like, I have a buddy who, like, is a full-time pharmacist, and it's like, he can't take PTO to play tournaments and stuff. So it's like, his rating, this is one very specific example. So it's like, obviously,
it's fair. We're thinking about that one. Yeah, we think about those for sure.
It's like, okay, they can't play a whole lot, but if they play 3 tournaments a year, their reliability is always going to be, about 50, 60 probably. But it's like, okay, well, is his rating just going to constantly be, decaying and decaying and decaying? Like, it's hard to figure out how strong he actually is based on his rating.
Correct. And listen, these are some of the dilemmas that we're faced with, right? Because you're trying, it's about, right, satisfying and making sure people are happy, not happy, like all of that stuff. Like, again, we have this, cultural situation where I've seen a lot of people which, complaining about this, right? This cultural situation, like, well, like, my club, That's if I drop this level, I cannot play on this open play or on this day. And the status thing, I've seen TikToks about the status thing. I saw one of Ignawowicz actually as well. Like it's like you don't get invited to the party as I said before. So it's a complex problem because we're looking at like, hey, Kevin, if I haven't seen you in a year, you
can't assume that they've been playing and training, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and your number, again, at the core of what your number is supposed to be always is, who is Kevin playing pickleball today with the data that we have, right? So as you said, yeah, if reliability was something that everyone was following, it would be great.
So I guess in that example, though, you mentioned that a lot of like a big portion of the user base only has like 10 matches or so per year.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that wouldn't the decay essentially like decay that user base that only has 10 matches per year, and they wouldn't be able to get their rating up without playing more frequently than they do.
That's the decay aspect is to guarantee that players are playing more. We think that if it's a decay factor, we're kind of like not allowing for that person that is protecting the rating. This is, I don't know if you hear it a lot at the club level, but I hear it a lot. Like, so many players are protecting the rating. They are not playing. We have a lot of 5-0s with like 1 reliability. A lot, and I get it, because a lot of them are coaches and need that 5-0 status. It's part of the environment. It has gotten a little toxic. The reality, like DUPR, it's I have friends that wouldn't play with certain friends because of their DUPR, wouldn't enter scores, and it gets a little more heated. So it's a complex problem. I agree with you. I think that reliability, as I said before, if people use it, it will be great. Now, if I add the decay, now that, hey, you need to play a game, you need to join the club round robin, and it wouldn't be like something that it will be drastic, but we'll let you know. We send you an email like, hey, Kevin, go and play a game. We need to reactivate your account. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Those are the things that we've discussed internally to create that engagement and make sure that people are adding more games. So, everything gets more accurate.
I mean, I get the motive behind that one, but personally, I still think like I get what you're trying to incentivize there, but I personally I'm used to seeing the reliability, so it's more familiar to me. But I'm sure if it did make sense, with time, it would everyone would get used to it.
Listen, that's not something that listen. The reality is that if we were gonna go full data, like full data scientists on this, and make the algorithm the most accurate possible right now, we will actually include all of the factors of the reliability rating inside of the algorithm. That will all be inside. It wouldn't be 2 different numbers. It all will be one number, and we will add connectivity again. That's the most accurate version of DUPR with that, by far. Now, again, movement without playing is pretty crazy.
It's tricky.
So we haven't done that. So again, those are the things that we need to. We learned a lot. We learned a lot this change. We learned that this, making these changes into the algorithm bring a lot of opinions, and people care, and so we need to be a little careful on like the next things that we add into the system to make sure that we're not making people crazy and keeping them happy.
Well, I have one more.
I just want to say,
you go. Yeah, AC. Sorry.
No. Listen, there was a mouse down there that I escaped in an old rickety basement. No, this kind of reminds me of when I used to live in Germany, and at the beginning of the conversation, I would find myself like fully involved, and then as people got drunker and drunker, they started speaking less and less English, and I understood less and less progressively as the night went on. So I know you guys are both brilliant, and I think it's such an entertaining dialogue for someone like me who, like, obviously Kevin, like you're in the weeds in terms of DUPR, but I feel like you're not alone. Like there are a lot of people like you maybe who look at it at like a macro and micro level like that. So I mean, I've never like looked at it that closely or thought about it as intently as you clearly have. But I think there is a lot of there's not a lot of Kevin Dongs out there, let's be honest. But I think that this discussion will be very helpful for a lot of people because I think you've asked every possible scenario that could be asked. So yeah, that's all I got. I just wanted people to make sure that they know that I'm still here.
Both,
Yeah, go ahead.
fortunately and unfortunately, that exist. Unfortunately, because maybe people will obsess too much over a number, as Tito has talked about for various reasons, coaching, whatever, just personal ego, all the above. But that's the unfortunate side. The fortunate side is that people are obsessed with their dupers, and the more accurate it gets, the better it is for everyone. So
they care, but you care, and that's what I think is like
Yes.
what your biggest thing, Tito, from somebody like me. It's like people care, they obsess about it, but I can see it. People who are paying attention can see it. You guys care. You ultimately want to get to the place where this is the most accurate it can possibly be. You're not quite there yet, but you're trying to take incremental steps to ultimately get to that point. That's sort of my general take. And you're willing to change, you're willing to adapt, you're willing to listen. But at the end of the day, that's sort of the goal ultimately.
No, 100%. And listen, and we will try the competitive threshold. Like we will try all of the things. Like this is the job of the data science team. I mean, this first step was to solve a big issue that we have. And it was making the rating inaccurate. It was truly, making the ratings like this. If you think about it visually, it was polarizing it. So we need to solve it. We need to put a stop to it and start fixing it. Now we're going to learn a lot this next couple of weeks, and we're going to test, so many different concepts. That's Sarah's job. She runs all of these models. She looks at how it affects accuracy, and it's just going to get better, and it's going to keep adding things. And maybe, hey, Kevin, we tried the competitive threshold, and it's the right thing to do, and we're good. Maybe we only lose a little bit of accuracy, but protects a certain demographic, right? And that has less chances to go up, to your point, because you are at that stage of like very high pro, and then my whole point here is that it's all about testing, looking at it's looking about being fair with the more amount of people within the community, making sure that we're taking care of them, we're putting the more accurate rating out there. And also that we are, caring about their perception. I think that's important. We learned a lot last week that people feel very strongly about this, and we need to make sure that we read those, we comment those, and we acknowledge those, and we look at the right model that they're able to understand.
yeah, and
Awesome.
I do like very last thing is just like at the end of the day, like I do commit, like I know I've been a little tough on you with all these questions and stuff, but I do really think like the more data Duper gets, like it's always becoming more accurate for any specific profile. Like even like I've definitely felt in the past like, oh, like I'm underrated or whatever, and it's like, oh, I go play more tournaments, okay, like it moves up and down, and it's like, all right, it was more accurate today than yesterday. So I do think like the best part about Duper is like the more data it gets, the more accurate it gets. It's just, obviously everyone is always like, oh, well, I feel like I'm this good, but this day I just didn't play well. And, it's just more data, get more data.
Yeah, listen, and that's a great point. No, one of the big things is, people tell, like your example, right, of the hate, the 15-2 and, hey, there is a net, or there is I tripped on a ball, or it was windy, or I played really good today, or I played really bad today. I read a lot about that, right? And guys, my level, shifts. I sometimes can be a 5-5, sometimes I can be a 4-5, right? Like I'm being serious. Like I wake up some mornings and I am like, crazy. I'm just hitting, a backhand freaking, passing shots and ATPs and earnings, and I am like freaking balling. I just feel like I could be Ben Jones. And then there are other days that I'm a little tired. I'm at the park playing, and I'm playing with the 4-5. I'm a little, my mind is thinking about I have to go to, the supermarket after, and I need to get dog food.
You need to respond to comments in the comment section.
He's got the Grinch on Instagram going crazy on him. He's got to respond. My boy missed 6 serves in a row.
So
No, I'm
you
the
know,
same way, dude.
this
Oscillating.
happens. Exactly, this happens. So if you think about that, the games that are gonna be on DUPR are gonna represent that and show that. So we shouldn't be that afraid of that weekend that I went down, because the next weekend when I'm up, right, I might have a great weekend and it's gonna level itself up. And some days you're gonna win 15-2, some days you're gonna lose 15-2, and all of this data is just gonna give this information to us to learn who you are. So
Yep.
my advice is just like, don't hyper focus on the rating while you are competing. Focus on your performance. Your rating is a product of your performance. The other thing I don't want people to do, and which is fair, is like going to a game and making calculus of how much they have to win to be able to improve the rating. That's just gonna ruin your rating. If I know that I have to go into a game and win 11-3, and I am playing to make, I mean, have you ever played time games where that like timer, like games that are timed? You never played it? Yeah. So when you know that you're losing and you need to make a lot of points in the last 2 minutes, and you're just out there like trying to get as many points as possible in the last couple of minutes, and you just like
Making terrible decisions.
Exactly. It's the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you prove to us that you are better than what your level represents competing, your DUPR is gonna go up. There is no secret formula. Get better, goes up. Get worse, goes down. That is as simple as that.
Yep.
You
Love
heard
that.
the man. Well, Tito, we can't thank you enough, man. We know you're an extremely busy guy, and I thought this was a very, very enriching and wonderful discussion between. Like, I was a student as well, listening to you and Kevin go back and forth. And again, I just want to say that as a DUPR user, I appreciate you engaging with people that maybe have said some very unkind things to you. But you're the man of the people, you're the people's champ, and you're a friend of ours, and we know the heart and the minds of DUPR, you're in the right place, right? You ultimately want this to succeed. It's very obvious to see when people care about their business and care about their product, and you guys clearly do. Is it a perfect system yet? No. Will it ever be perfect? No, because no rating system is ever perfect, but you're doing the things to make it better and better and better each time, and that's what I think is important.
No, thank you so much, guys. And I appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, DUPR is a little bit of a community platform in many ways. Like, without, well, not in many ways, in all ways. And without you guys, this cannot work. It cannot get better. We need matches. We need data. Like, it's almost like this responsibility that we all have, in a sense. The more we add, the more we change this culture, the more we see this as a thing that we need to feed. We feed it, and it's just gonna get better and better and better. It's just gonna make the playing field so much fun. I'm gonna be able to go to Vietnam tomorrow, find some fun games. I'm gonna be able to go to Malaysia, find some fun games, and yeah, we're gonna work. I promise you, to take all of the feedback, run some tests, make sure that all of the things in the bag make sense, and to be as transparent as we can. Like, as I've been telling everyone on the comments, like I've responded to every single DM this last week. Like, shoot me a message, let's talk. I'll check some of your games. Again, even people are giving some great examples of like, look at this movement, look at this. Once I explain to them why that movement happened, it does make a lot of sense. And nothing is going to be shocking, I promise you. And 6 months from now, if you are a 5'8", Kevin, and that's your level, maybe you get way better in the next 6 months, and you start beating Ben Jones and AC here, and we see you killing it. But if you stay your level right now, and that's a 5'8", you're not gonna be a big change. Only the people that are inflated and the people that are deflated are the ones who are gonna see changes.
Yep.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, thanks so much, Tito. Again, we'll be checking in with you soon, brother.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, man, once I finally get out of the Hamptons and get away from these crazy mice in this old basement, I'll be back in Florida soon. So look forward to connecting with you soon, brother.
You're in the Hamptons right now, I see.
Dude, I've been stuck in the Hamptons for almost a month. No, it's been quite nice. I made a prior commitment to teach tennis here for a month. So That's what I've been
All
doing.
my buddies are there. I'm sure you're seeing them around, so we'll discuss.
I've been on the tennis court 10 hours a day. They probably, if they go to the movies in the library at night, they might see me occasionally. I'm very tame these days, Tito. Until I get down to
They're all coaching too.
until I get down to South Florida with you.
Sounds good, my friend.
And my wild man days will come back. All right, guys. Well, hey, Tito, thanks so much, brother.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Tito.
Ciao.
So that's not a little bored. That sucks. Life's tough. Last thing I need is more stuff. It's true. I need a little more time with you and more rosé with my lunch. One piece of mind sometimes.